I also talked with Lynn before we started. And what I was saying was that maybe the topic of the meeting is a little bit different than the description, maybe, or maybe a different emphasis. And I think the title I would give it now is How Does an Experienced Focuser, in this case myself, learn mindfulness? And I think many of you had the experience of learning a different modality, such as, in my case, also nonviolent communication. And right away, there was some way or something that we had that sometimes not even the teachers had. And it's really that knowing, focusing, that allows us to take in the information a little different, or actually very different. And Lynn was quoting Jean in response to what I just said. And so I'm asked, could you please say that again? Because I think it's a really beautiful description of what I want to get into.
I'm not sure I remember Jean's exact words, but something about how focusing gives everything a quality of immediacy and personal meaning and depth that we can integrate all kinds of things with this experiential rootedness and making whatever it is our own through focusing. Was that what I said, Robert? Something
yes.
like
yes, that. And so what I would like to do is just take some very simple mindfulness directions and really give us time to notice what we do with that as focusers. And one of the beautiful things about focusing is how we can customize everything for how something fits for us right now. So maybe we can just start out finding a meditation posture and sort of, instead of thinking I should be straight and I should be this, just really give ourselves time to find that posture that's allowing us to be alert and also comfortable. And then give ourselves time to maybe adjust that posture. Maybe we need to move our hips a little bit back. Maybe there's a way we can sort of play with how straight we want to be without getting to that place where it's not comfortable anymore. And really find exactly what's right for us right now. And then what Melinda was saying with her puppy, which is kind of helping her to feel grounded. So I'd like to invite us to find that grounding in our body, and then see which of the most common meditation anchors feels just right for us now. Maybe just the contact of our body with the chair. Maybe feeling the breath. If you're choosing the breath, maybe it's a specific place in the body you like to stay with. And maybe use the sounds around you as an anchor. Maybe the body is not that comfortable today, or and then without losing that anchor of body, breath, or sounds, notice if there are any thoughts or feelings you're aware of right now. And then, as a possible topic, just for right now, I'd like to put out a question and just notice if you like the question and what comes in response to it. What's your motivation for practicing? What's your motivation to practice focusing, or if you have a meditation practice, to meditate? What's your practice to come to this meeting? And then just notice what comes in you. And if it feels right, please unmute yourself and maybe share some of what came for you with the group. And as a group, we are all experienced listeners. So there's a welcoming space to hear you.
I'd like to share. I was surprised. The question, I thought, oh, I like that question, but I was really surprised. I've been a Zen practitioner for over 20 years and focuser for over 10. But what really came very strongly was I wanted to find a home. I wanted to find a home for both practices within. Yeah. So thank you.
So maybe we can all notice how that finding a home lands in our bodies. Thank you.
What came up for me many years ago, over 20, and when I first started with Buddhism first, and then focusing, has always been peace. Looking for a peaceful place and peaceful practitioners.
So again, let that radiate in our bodies.
What came to me is my ambivalence about practice. That I love practice, the quietness of it, and the nourishment of it. And something in me also resists it and wants to always be giving out and creating and doing. And then practice is the balance of that, of receiving and quieting. And I'm always struggling to really make space for that receptivity in myself that I know is central to everything. It's where everything comes from. And for some reason, something gets like jumpy about, oh, but I have to do this and I forgot to do that. And so I want to acknowledge that I really need help in the discipline of practice.
So what you just said is actually what I would suggest as a topic for a little triad practice. Like we're gonna go into groups of 3 for like 10 minutes before we go on with whatever else we want to do today. And so what Lynn just said brings me back to the topic. The meeting is help for helpers. So the question I was thinking of, how does our practice help us to be there for others? And for me personally, where I am at this point in being clear about my motivation, is that how focusing and meditation is a tool for self-regulation, and how that is allowing me to be there for others in a way I wouldn't otherwise if I was just thinking of how can I help. And it really changes for me every interaction, like from who I'm sharing the elevator with to what I'm doing right now. And so that's the question I would suggest. How does our practice, even this meeting, support us to support others? So if we could go into groups of 3 for like 10 minutes and then come back and share some of the findings and then see where we go from here. Maybe do a rain meditation as it said in the announcement. Hello?
Hi, Robert.
Oh,
So I'd like to make some space to share any findings, anything that you would like to bring to the whole group, anything that you would like to be listened to that you just discovered, or and if you'd like to speak, just unmute yourself. And
For me, the meeting the breakout groups always have this feeling of a hug. It's that I have so much gained from the warmth and people talking from their heart, and it's so easy and comforting and nurturing. I know it sounds like an advertisement for focusing, but it is. For me, this has been an awesome community, and it's like I feel like I landed in the right spot. Someone said about feeling like you found a home. That feels very close to what this does for me, and I'm grateful. I'm really grateful, and it's just been very important to me, and I can't wait each Monday morning for 8:15, and I make sure to have that blocked off.
we like you as an advertisement for our group.
Thanks. I'll continue then.
Put that on Facebook and Twitter.
Oh, but it's a secret. I mean, in some ways I want to keep it my own, and in other ways I want everyone to know. So
Yes.
conflict.
Well, we are all with you.
Yes.
And we all have our own version of home and what
Yes.
it's like to be in this group and what it feels like in our body. And I think I'm taking your invitation to appreciate our practice and our coming together to practice even more. And really, I think that's a great thing about meetings like this, to give ourselves time to really feel how good it feels. Because
Even on a rainy
I
day.
think we all know about the negativity bias of our brains, where we are constantly scanning for something that's not right, that's a problem. And so to really consciously do the opposite and just noticing the home, the feeling our bodies, the practicing together, I think is very nourishing for how we meet our clients or people in life that we are helping.
Yeah. What came to me was in my struggle to make this consistent time for this quiet and not doing is a poem, and I just remember the last line. Maybe somebody else may know it. It's called The Rain. And the last line is, there are hands placed on my shoulders. What has been spoken to me? And how does my life reply?
Wow.
And there's something about that quiet of not making anything or doing anything that allows me to hear the message of those hands placed on my shoulders. And that seems so essential, like everything has to come from that.
Wow, thank you. And it also makes me think of what Melinda and Lynn were talking about before the meeting started, which is presencing the upcoming Thanksgiving and how that I think it can always be stressful and happy in different ways. But this year in the pandemic, it's sort of another level of difficulty. And I think those words you just said, we can really presence that difficulty and also presencing the support we give each other.
Hi, I just want to say too that in terms of what you were saying, Lynn, that what came to me was the similarities with focusing and meditation is a grounding, but also finding new places. And that's very exciting for me. Even with this, you know, in our group, we talked also about the pandemic and Thanksgiving that kind of led into that. And just finding new ways of being. And that's what focusing and meditation does for me. So thank you, Robert.
Thank you. And I think what that makes me think for me personally, and I think it's true for many, is that self-regulating and giving ourselves a home, a safe space, allows us to go out and explore new places. Because if we are only in fear, it's really difficult to want to try something new. And then all the messages we get, we shouldn't be in the same habit or in the same place all the time, just make it worse. I mean, it did for me. And I think to have that place, that home, that in the body, then we can really go out and explore. And I think in ourselves, but also in the world, doing more things and going to new places.
As you were talking, I'm sorry, just 1 second, because I realized some people need to leave earlier. Robert is actually going to be offering a series for coronaplaza.life on mindfulness. I just realized that, Robert, and that's going to begin in a couple of weeks. I just wanted to mention that in case if anyone wanted to join, because space will be limited.
Yeah, it's going to be on Thursdays at 2 p.m. That's 4 Thursdays in December. But actually, and I went through a little meltdown when I saw it on the fourth Thursday in December is the 24th. And it took me like a half day to get the 3 people who are interested so far to agree on a time. And then I saw that the 4th day is the 24th. And so anyway, so the way I left it now is that together as a group, once we start, we're going to decide if that 4th day is going to be skipped for a week, the Thursday, or if we find another day in December to complete it. And it's going to be limited to 7 or fewer, because it's almost like what we're doing now, but we won't need to go into breakout groups. And if more people are interested, that we can schedule something else.
And Robert, what time, just for those in different time zones?
It's 2 p.m. New York time, Eastern Standard Time. And what else? Right now, I'm in no need to earn money, so it's free of charge. And I'm also doing this to complete my certification as a meditation teacher. I'm training with Tara Brach and Jack Cornfield. And this is the last 2 months of my training. And the practicum is part of that. So I will ask for some feedback and have that sort of officially filled out and hand it to my supervisors.
How long? From 2 to what?
90 minutes, 1.5 hours. And it's I would like you to commit to 4 sessions. And then there's an opportunity to go on, as to extend it, maybe go deeper in some aspect, but I sort of need to complete these 4 sessions for my certification.
How can we learn more? You know, like how to sign up.
I put it on the chat, my
Okay.
email.
Thank you.
Can we try some of that now? Were you thinking of that? Of mindfulness and meditation? And
Okay, so let's see. I think what I'm going to do is guide you through a rain meditation. And for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then see if there are any questions, and then go into like our usual breakout rooms. Anyway, that's the goal. So let's see what happens. So what I would like you to do is hold, for one, the anchor you have chosen, your body, the sounds around you, the breath. And without losing that, just think of something that's maybe a little difficult in your life right now. If it's a few things, maybe see which of those would be good to be with, like for about 10 minutes. So maybe not the most triggering issue, but something that you do care about. And then the first letter in RAIN is to recognize that. So you're recognizing, yes, it is in my life. And also recognize your reaction to that problem. Maybe a habit of yours, maybe a difficult person, maybe something in the world that's happening that's really difficult to absorb. And then the A in RAIN stands for allowing it. You accept it, you acknowledge it, you allow it. And maybe notice if it's possible to relax a little bit without trying to push this away or run away from it. Maybe notice or maybe presence your anchor again, your breath, your body sensations, the sounds around you. And then the letter I stands for investigate. The investigation is not as an analyzing, it's more like the focusing in a relationship. How does that live in my body? Where does that live in my body? Is it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? And how do I relate to it? And then do the best you can to be curious and kind. And all the wonderful inner relationship skills we learned from Ann Weiser Cornell, we can all use them in this step. And then the last step of RAIN, as it's taught by Tara Brach, is nourishment. Nourish with self-compassion. So that place in you, give that the kind of nourishment it needs. And then again, notice your anchor, your breath, your body, the sounds around us. And maybe make a commitment to be with this more if needed. There'll be a breakout room now. You might want to be with this more. Or maybe you want to make some notes so it's easier to come back to it. And then at your own pace, come, maybe if you had your eyes closed, open them. And if you have any question, just unmute yourself and say your question.